Penn State Blitz time, Camping World Stadium style, right after Kentucky held off a gallant Penn State rally, 27-24. Wildcats mistakes were a big story in this game. Penn State made a lot of them on special teams, too many drop passes, and you know, Greg, these issues surfaced fairly early in the season. Penn State's coaching staff and their players had a month to kind of iron out the wrinkles. What happens on their first drive? They botch a fake punt.
Yep.
DeAndre Tompkins gets a punt, go over his head, pinning them deep. Blake Gillikin's backed up into a corner. He punts the ball. He goes for distance instead of height. The Kentucky kid returns it for a touchdown. He's a very good player. They miss field goals. They have field goals blocked. I mean, it was just, when James Franklin, he said, talking about making hard decisions afterwards, I wonder if those hard decisions involve some people on his staff, because if it's the same story over and over, you need somebody else to kind of get rewrite going. And I'm talking about Phil Galliano.
Right.
I'm not sure about the receivers coach David Corley, because there were a lot of drops. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem to me, Bob, as we're standing here on New Year's Day, is we could have had the same conversation on August 31st, before the season started. We could have had the same conversation on September 31st after the Ohio State game. You knew that you had a couple new coaches, Phil Galliano and David Corley are two of them. Jalen Sider, the running backs coach, the third new one, seems to be carrying his weight along with Tyler Bowen, tight end coach. But yeah, you do wonder. It's a tough industry because there's coaches move on for other opportunities. Sometimes guys get let go. I don't know if that'll be the case here. I think James Franklin has a very strong loyalty to a lot of his coaches. And I don't see him as a one-year and fire kind of guy, but you can't be horrible on special teams for 12 games. Penn State, for the most part, was. And you can't be, just drop passes over and over and over again. And Penn State did that too often this year as well.
Yeah, and I just wonder how different this team will look when they assemble for winter conditioning and spring drills. You know they're going to lose Trace McSorley. You know they're going to lose Nick Scott. You know they're going to lose some good players. But I think the Penn State fan base, it's about who's leaving that could stay. And I think there's no question that a few of these guys are going to go. Penn State's recruited well. They have guys ready to step in. Ricky Slade had his moments today. I think Justin Shorter had a very strong December practice couple of weeks, and I know that Trace McSorley says he's about ready to go. If Sharif Miller leaves, some players are going to have to step up along the defensive line. Micah Parsons had 13 tackles today, and he's clearly going to be a leader, I think, on the defense as a second-year player. They're going to miss Amani Aroarie, but it really doesn't matter sometimes how well you play on offense or defense if you make that many mistakes in a critical part of the game. And I just don't know if it's going to be the same story after a couple of weeks and we see it for 3 months. I mean, you have to step in. He's done it before. It took him 2 years with John Donovan. He's made some changes. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's a little early. Maybe he's going to give the coaching staff the benefit of the doubt, and it is on the players to execute better. But this is just not good.
No, it's the same. The problem is, again, it's the same story game after game. Over the course of the season. So they had some decisions to make, coaches-wise, players-wise. Obviously, Sharif Miller, Miles Sanders, Connor McGovern, and some others will have a choice about going to the NFL. Steven Gonzalez, Ryan Bates will be in that conversation too. Do they want to stay? Do they want to go? I agree with you. I think at least a couple of them go. We'll find out in the next couple of days. Penn State recruited well, but I thought Trace McSorley said it best. They have a lot of very good young players. But it's a different group than what Penn State's had the last few seasons. And this is the end of the Trace McSorley era. And there's got to be
40 games, man.
Yeah, and there's got to be young guys that step up and fill the void. Not just he's going to leave as the quarterback, but also as the leader of this team. So a lot of interesting stuff to come.
One final note, in case the fans were wondering, Robert Windsor, the nose tackle, had a good second half, didn't play today. They had to go with Shelton and a couple of other guys, and it really cost them, I think, in the middle of the defense, dealing with Benny Snell. He was suspended for an undisclosed violation of team rules. James Franklin wouldn't elaborate, but that's why you didn't see Robert Windsor today. Hopefully we will see him, though, in the winter, spring, and next fall. I think he's a good player, but he's also one of those guys that you never know what they're going to decide. But that's why he didn't go today.